All right, welcome to the Grassroots Rugby podcast. I'm your host, Kohei. I'm joined here with Craig Chan, the myth, the legend, the superstar of Hong Kong. I know Craig through rugby in Hong Kong. We played against each other at university where he beat me. He represented Lingnan U, and he also plays for Tin Shui Wai Pandas. A little bit about Craig. He refereed the Dubai Sevens women's final, New Zealand versus Australia, and he's also refereed other competitions such as the Asia Olympic Qualifier, the Asia Rugby 7 Series, the Asian Games, the Hong Kong Premiership Under-20s Trophy, Hong Kong Sevens, and the upcoming Olympics 2024. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here, Kohei. Good to see you.
If you can give me a self-introduction about yourself, from how you started with rugby. You can go all the way back to when you were 5 years old. I don't know when you started rugby, but tell us the start and to now.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Craig. Current referee, 7s and 15s. I've been refereeing for around 8 years. How I get into rugby is when I was studying abroad in Canada. I was studying in a boarding school. I didn't get involved with rugby at all in the beginning to start with. So I start with like Asian sports. I would say basketball, football, swimming, table tennis, all those stuff. During like our rest time, I just like stay in the gym to do some like basketball for fun. But at that time, our school team, like the school rugby team, need to come in to train since there's snowing outside. So they all come into the gym. So at that time, the headmaster was one of the coach. So because we kind of need to let them use the pitch to play or to train. So my headmaster was like, well, I remember you play football and basketball at the same time. Rugby is something similar. Why don't you just like give it a try? At that time, I said no. I was like, well, that's very dangerous. It's not for me. So I was like, nah. And then he was like, oh, just come to join us. Like, just for one sessions. I promise you no contact. It's just touch. It's just like hide and seek. So I basically get into it. That's my first time. And after that, basically, I just loved rugby. I always hold on to the rugby ball no matter where I go. Learn how to pass. And then I basically start rugby from there. After finish my study in Canada, back to Hong Kong to get more study in Lingnan University. As I basically get into tertiary to mid Kohei, play for some local clubs, and then basically that's how I start playing. About refereeing, I referee around 8 years now. So 8 years ago, I used to still playing. I was quite a annoying player, I would say. I love to question the ref like politely, on and off the pitch. So at that time, my coach was like, are you sure the things that you're like asking the ref is correct or not? Why don't you just go on to the referee course and see how it goes, and just like update the knowledge? Because I play flanker or number 8, so I kind of love to get that gray area. So basically, I just want to get the referee sessions done and see the things that I ask or thinking is it right or wrong, to kind of like improve my playing skill and knowledge. After the course, I was not into referee at all. I don't plan to get into it at all. Unfortunately, I got 2 injuries. One is I broke my finger, little finger, so I need to rest for 2 weeks. So I basically, at that time, I still can run, but I cannot play. So at that time, the referee manager of the community was like, why don't you just give it a try, keep running on the pitch on the weekend, so that like just keep fit, and then to recover, then you can go back to play. So I was like, okay, I give it a try. I still remember the first time when I go into the game, everyone's like, why are you here? Your team's supposed to be playing at Tin Shui Wai instead of Happy Valley. And then all the coaches and players look at me like, what are you doing here? I was like, oh, I'm the ref of the game. I was like, what? So basically, that's how I start the first time. To be honest, after I ref the first game, I hate it to death. I promised myself I'm not going to ref it again. I remember I called the referee manager straight away and say, hey, I'm done. Thank you very much for the opportunity, but that's it for me. No more. And then he kind of like chat about like what's going on, why, what happened, etc. So when I'm walking out to the station and give him a call, he saw me on the taxi. So it's like, "Are you walking out from Happy Valley?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Oh, I saw you. Just wait me a second." He jumped off the taxi, have a chat with me. So I kind of like at that time I struggled a little bit and thinking should I continue or not. And then at that time I kind of promised myself I probably give it a go for 1 year and see how it go. If I don't like it, I just pack it back to playing. If I like it, I continued maybe. So I basically just start from there until now. Yeah, 8 years.
Wow, that is a long time in rugby and in refereeing. And what level was that when you had your first game that you refereed?
Yeah, so I was quite lucky. The first game I got is actually a woman NL 115. So it's kind of like a second division of women's league in Hong Kong at that moment. So it's quite good quality to be honest. Like not too bad, and mostly it's a 15. Normally, maybe we start with like secondary school or primary school to start with, then we come into it. So I'm quite lucky to just go straight into like adult competition. So yeah.
Do you think they saw potential in you? That's why they put you at that level to begin with?
I would say
Considering you were considering you were 50-50 with refereeing?
yeah. I would say it's a mix at that time. Like if I think back, it's like, of course, it would be kind of like based on my current referee knowledge. So I think I'm alright at that time. Like I know the basics, what is knock on, what is forward pass. Of course, my running line would be horrible. I would be like a player's running line and stuff. But other than that, I think they think I can control the game at that time, at that level. So it's good. And of course, like during the referee course, we do some demo game and demo refereeing. So I think at that time they feel like it's all right for me to give it a try. So yeah, at that time I was like, okay, why not? Like I thought I'm okay, but it was not that great, and most of the coaches are not happy. So I kind of understand. Like, but I make some right calls. Of course, I missed something, but yeah, it I won't say it's fun, but it's a good experience.
Besides like your self-criticism from, giving yourself obviously a lot of negativity and a lot of feedback for yourself, like what can you take out of that game that you felt like could have contributed to, your future in refereeing? And also besides, being so overcritical about yourself, was there certain aspects of the game that you felt like, that you could have done better, or that you felt like you should have done better?
Yeah. So I think it's a really good point. Like if I think back right now, 8 years time, like during that game, what did I take away from there? I think the main thing is like it's not easy to be a ref for sure. In the beginning, I thought ref should be easy. You go into the middle, you should know everything. You should able to manage everything. But once you're actually in the middle, you probably don't understand how many stuff you need to handle at that time. You got 30 people's around the pitch, and you got so many laws in your head. In rugby, you can have so many things that you can need to manage, 1,000 of rucks or tackles. So it's not easy, but if I think back, it's more like how do I handle that pressure? And I think when I get into referee or when I was playing, the thing I don't like the most is I think a referee shouldn't change the game result. So that's my main or key focus for myself when I referee is I understand referee cannot be perfect, but in the same time as I think the key thing is do not change the game result. I think that's the key thing, and I think until now I still really kind of like a straight thing for me is no matter what I need to keep the result as it is. It's more like the takeaway will be like how do you handle pressure and how do you accept feedback from the others. Referee job is not easy for sure, but in the same time, it's how do you get better from there and accept opinion from the others so that you can get better.
Yeah, so you're talking about pressure, and do you do anything before the game to prepare yourself mentally for what's about to come? Like, as you said, the players can be really harsh to the referee, or even the sideline can be really harsh, or even the coaches can be really harsh after the game. So how do you prepare for what's to come?
Yeah, so I would break it down to two parts. One is like game prep. So let's say if I know I'm refereeing certain team, I will have a look on what they did previously or try to find some clips or just think about what their strength is. So for example, they have one team that got really strong front row pack. That means they probably want to drive more at scrums and they probably want to get some penalty from scrum. So I just need to get prepared a little bit ahead from them and thinking what they want to achieve from the game or from certain play. Same as the other team, like what's the pattern? Like for example, Fiji, like they love free balls, they don't love to play around rather than set piece penalty. So that's something a little bit different. But I think the other side is how do you prepare yourself to accept non-decisions or like something that you missed or something that you're wrong. How do you move on from there? I think that's another part that is quite key for me. The key learning for me during my referee period is like we are human for sure. We will make mistakes, just like the player will knock on, they make a forward pass or they miss tackled. But it's about what's the next job is. How do you pack yourself at that time and move on to the next one and say, okay, so this, let's say sevens, you got 40 minutes, but you miss up one thing in the first minute. How do you pack yourself and move on and continue that 30 minutes to be perfect? So I think that's one of the part that need to be learned, or I still learning how to do it in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's definitely about moving past the wrong decision that you think you made, and then just moving on to the next job, right? Because you can't afford to just dwell on that one decision when you still have, the rest of the second half to consider. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of things to consider after. On another note, I want to ask you, you are obviously touring for, as a referee, and you have a partner who's also a representative of the Hong Kong women's team.
Yeah.
Now, when she's on tour and you're on tour, what's it like to be on the same tour?
To be honest, it's quite an experience, like funny experience. We kind of know that we both go to do a job. Like she needs to focus on playing, I need to focus on refereeing. Of course, I won't ref her, but at the same time, as we know, like when it's business time, so we kind of quite clear without saying anything. We kind of sync in the same time. Like, of course, if we see each other, we will give each other a hug or have a chat and stuff. But we're not doing anything crazy. It's just like after the tournament, yes, then we can go out, have a coffee or something. I think we're quite clear on what's going on, like what do we need to do on the right time, right thing. And I think, like, compare referee to players, I think players more structure and schedule with the whole team thing. So they kind of like won't be as free as the referee, or they don't get as much free time. So I don't think we see each other much, to be honest. We probably bump into each other in hotel breakfast or lunch, meal time, then we have a chat, then basically just message. So it is the same as normal, to be honest. But it's a quite funny experience. And mostly when some of the ref, they don't know yet, or they don't realize that, they'll be like, I actually got a player on the field. It seems like she knows the law quite a lot. And then when we figure it out it's her, and everyone just laughs. It's like, how can you not know her? So there was those fun moments during the tournament. But yeah, it's just professional, high performance. So we know when to do what. So it's good.
Do you guys ever give each other feedback while you're on tour? Like, you could have refereed this game a lot better by, blowing the whistle for this or that, or you're analyzing her performance in a game, like, oh, you could have sprinted or stepped around this person.
Yeah, don't think we do on like during tournament time. I think during tournament time we're quite separate. But of course, like for example, if she was away, then I was watching at home, then when we have a chat, then we probably jump in one or two. It's like, oh, that might be easy to get a penalty against you, so make sure you don't do it. Or why, like sometimes she might ask, like, what is the referee calling? Like, what is it for? then we will have a chat on that. And of course, when I go out to ref and she watch me on TV or whatever, she will give me feedback and say, hey, I think that call is too harsh, that yellow card is too harsh, they don't need it, something like that. I think it's good to have that, like, outsider to bring, like, for me, I think it's, for me, it's good. Like, you got an outsider come in with their knowledge and from a player point of view and say, hey, I think that's a little bit too harsh, we can't follow. Because at the end of the day, referee is more like, they try to serve the players, right? Serve the game, serve the players. If we always come up with some decisions that only referee would understand, that's probably not the best thing to do. So sometimes it's good to have her insight to come in and say, like, to give comment on it and see it. Like, of course, I will still work with my referee coach and stuff and see what they think about it after I have a chat with her. Or sometimes I even realize it on my self-review and then I'll just ask, hey, am I right? And then she would just give the feedback. It's good.
And you're talking about how obviously players have a really busy schedule when they're on tour. For referees, what do you guys do on your off time, or what does your schedule look like? Because looking at your Instagram, you look like you're having so much fun going on, I don't know, like going down a swing or, yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, so I think different tournament will be different. So let's say Asia Rugby Sevens. So we basically arrive a day earlier before the game day. So we basically arrive there when everyone arrives. Then we have a meeting at night or late evening. Then we go straight into the games, and then we fly out on the next day. So that one is more like you need to prepare yourself before you come in. So it's just more like admin stuff, appointments, then that's it. Then you basically get around for dinner to know around the referee, get involved and stuff. For 15 will be slightly different. So you basically got a group of 3 or 4. So you got the referee yourself, 2 ARs, TMO, or like with your PRs, so performance reviewer. So you got 5 of them. You probably just come in like 1 or 2 days early, depends on your time zone and stuff. Get a meeting done, have a good chat, get a good dinner together. And then basically before game day, we might come together to have a chat on what do you expect the AR or the referee to do in the game. What do they want, what's their preference and stuff. So we have a chat on there. Then basically it's a free time until game time. So it's a little bit different approach. World Series a little bit different. So let's say we got a 3-day tournament, Friday to Sunday. We arrive on the previous Sunday, so that on Monday like basically the whole week we got like 2 running blocks and 1 gym sessions, and we got like around 3 to 4 meeting block, including group meetings and one-on-ones. We kind of like lead into the week, so it's a little bit more packed for the series. Different tournament got different preference, to be honest, and then to be honest, during the free time, it's up to you to explore around with the ref, chill, go to gym, and do your own thing. It's up to you. So it's just more like how you mentally and physically prepared to give the best service during the weekend. Yeah, it's kind of like really depends on you, what's your preference.
Yeah, so obviously trying to get rid of the thought or the pressure come game time. So how do you relieve yourself of it? How do you get out of that zone, right? So you spoke about appointments, being appointed for a game, and also I assume the ultimate appointment would be the finals. What contributes to being appointed as an assistant referee or main referee for different games or even the final? Like, does anyone get really upset for being an AR? Like, what's everyone's feeling being appointed in different positions?
Yeah, I would say when you at the high performance, I think most of us is quite competitive. I would say we would like to be the one in the middle. We want to be the one in the final, etc. But like, I think the longer I stay into the group, I would say we feel like we're one group, but in the same time, same as the team, like you still want to be the best player. You still want to be better off your teammate, etc. I think referee got the same mindset, but in the same time as no matter which role you are, you will still want to perform the best. End up, people will not remember oh, Craig, you're the referee, you're the best, but your teammate is not good. But it's about the whole tournament and how the whole group perform, because I'm not only going to ref one team, I'm going to ref certain team during the whole tournament throughout from cool game all the way to the final and knockouts. So it's more like how you present yourself as a group. Yes, of course, there might be some disappointment, or you might feel like you ref like the best of your best, but then every didn't go to final, etc. It might be a little bit down, but at the same time, as that's the time you reflect. And I think I've been told many times it's about appointments. It's not about just you. There's many things about appointments. So, for example, if you're from Hong Kong, you can't ref Hong Kong. So if Hong Kong is in the final, you cannot ref that. Or the previous person got a better background, they need some more game time or high pressure game. That's why no matter you two are similar, then they will put someone else, etc. It's like there's so many things in the equations that you probably don't understand or you won't get the answers. So now basically get used to it and say, hey, I just need to count on my own performance. I think now my mindset, or most of us mindset, will be changed to, as long as I can perform as good as I would be selected for the final, that's the time or the goal that we want to be. And that's basically our mindset going in. So yeah, it is not easy. If I'm honest, it's not easy. Like some of them would be really chill and say, hey, I don't really mind, I just enjoy the moment. But most of us are quite aggressive. We're kind of aiming for that. But it would be changed to be adjusting to get the final, or we perform as good as we can get the final is enough. So yeah.
Yeah, so I understand the appointment and the pressure as a referee. Did you ever watch the documentary Whistleblowers?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, you know, watching all these top referees and not being appointed certain games, and obviously the disappointment. Firstly, who is your idol in refereeing?
This is a tough
Who
question.
do you look up to?
When I started, I would look at a few referees. So, for example, Hong Kong, I got Matt Rodden for sure. Like, he ref locally and got selected to the Hong Kong Sevens. And basically, at that time, I was like, Hong Kong Seven is my thing. Like, I really want to go for Hong Kong Sevens. I didn't think about anything else at that time. And then when I look on, like, internationally, I got Craig Jubiers, which ref 7 and 15s. And then you got Rasta, etc. All the people that basically online, and I look at it. And the reason why it is like referee, I feel like at that time I'm quite raw. Like as a beginner, I don't know what to do, what to learn. Then you always want to watch more. At that time, you pick up few person. It's like I really want to learn that part. For example, whistle sounds, running style, signal style, etc. So we learn from different people. So I don't have a specific person only, but I kind of a wide collections basically.
So you draw out the best of each referee and then try and apply that to your own refereeing. Is that
Yeah,
is that it?
100%. Yeah.
Do you remember the first red card you ever gave out in a referee game?
Ooh, that's a good question. To be honest, I don't think I remember exactly when and where and which team. I'm sure it's not you. Yeah.
I don't even think you've ever. I don't think you've ever refereed me in a game. Have you? Probably
No,
not.
I do. The tertiary final, I refed you, I think.
Oh right.
Yeah. I won the previous year, and then the next year I refed the tertiary final. So I think I refed.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was all a setup.
Yeah. I was like, oh, cool. I actually aimed for it. Like at that time, I was thinking I need to work hard to make sure that I get that final, because I think it's quite meaningful. Like meaningful when I can play the previous year and then ref next year. And then I don't think they have any 15s after that for Hong Kong tertiary at that moment. So I think it's a good finish for me. So yeah, basically how it started. So yeah.
And at that point in time, obviously you're still kind of fresh into refereeing. Like, what did you do to remember all the laws? Do you think it comes down from experience of like refereeing as many games as you can on every weekend, or did you do some studying? But how do you kind of ingrain that into yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm lucky that when I was playing, I understand the law quite a bit, like compared to some of my teammates. And I think I asked a lot of questions when I was playing. So that's kind of like helped me to understand a little bit more what's the point of view is. When I was referee, of course, reading law books, 100%, it helps. Watch heaps of game, heaps of them will help a lot. But of course, sometimes we got limited game time only, so watching games from all over the world helps a lot. And at some point, I would just like mute the video. I'll just watch it, and then if I feel like I saw infringement, I'll just pause it, and just think about what am I going to do if I'm on the field and I play it. If I merge with the referee, then I know that I come similar. So that basically just keep my head moving and thinking about the law. And of course, if I'm wrong, then I go through the law books or ask around and say, hey, why did he do that? Why is it play on, etc. Practice makes perfect, for sure.
And as much as you can follow the rule book, transitioning from a player to a referee, obviously you have the experience from a rugby player's perspective. Certain times in the game where you follow the rule book and then sometimes it doesn't apply, are there certain situations where, common sense or trying to be in the perspective of a player help with your refereeing?
Yep, 100%. I think when you say common sense is spot on. Sometimes as a referee, since I haven't checked with different sports referee at some point, like basketball and football and stuff. So they tell me like really straight on law book. So law book said if you touch a fingertip, there's a foul play, then you need to have a free throw, etc. Compared to rugby, there's so many things that can change and you need to apply judgment. So I think common sense is really important. And as I said in the beginning, it's like referee rugby games is more like you try to serve and get the best surface of the game. So you kind of want to make sure everyone understands the decisions. That's why if we only follow the law book, it will be so technical and then people don't like to watch and the player don't enjoy it, they think it's too straight. Common sense needs to be applied at some point with the law book. And of course, when you go bump into something that you clearly don't know, have a clue, you need to go through law books for sure. But it's how do you do law book with common sense? That's the key part, and that's I would say the art of refereeing. Compared to a good referee and an excellent referee, how do you balance that? I think that's a really key. And then I think the audience can see it and can tell most of the time. Yeah, it's really important to have that common sense.
And I personally feel like the scrum and the line out is probably, well, the scrum obviously like the hardest part of the game to try and referee. How do you get good at refereeing a scrum, or how do you get good at refereeing the line out?
Well, firstly, you need to understand the mechanics of the scrum or line out. Of course, I'm not saying that I can go into scrum right now, but it's more like ask about the coaches, like what are they doing, why did scrum turn left, why did it going up, etc. And talk to player a little bit more. Like I think at the end of the day, one of the things in Hong Kong is quite lucky is it's such a small community. So you basically see all the players week in, week out at some point somewhere or even at the pitch. So I think now I build up that relationship with them and say, hey, week in, I saw them and ask the question and say, hey, why do you do that? Like, why do you going up? Or why did the other team going up? Can you tell me what are you thinking? And of course, I don't know, sometimes they tell you the truth, sometimes they don't, or they say, I don't know, etc. Then you basically just keep asking a question to different people and see what the common answer is. And of course, at the end of the day, if we can't really find a middle ground, we go through the referee manager and we try to seek for help and say, let's say, ask World Rugby, what do they think about that scrum? Firstly, practice. Second thing, just open up to people and ask, like, what do you see? Like, don't feel like, oh, I'm the ref, I cannot ask people, or even the other way around, the players like, they're the referee, I can't ask them questions. I think now it's more both way, and I think in general, the game that I did, I feel like no matter in the series or in Hong Kong, etc., in Asia, they're willing to ask questions more. I think it's a good thing for both parties to understand and get a better game result too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is establishing communication with players. And do you think Hong Kong has done really well to kind of create a good relationship with referees and teams, players, coaches, spectators to have a really good environment, but also, speaking about referees, like for them to be able to learn more so that they can referee better or be more consistent for games?
Yeah, I think it's getting better. Like, I remember 8 years ago, I feel like it's quite detached. It's not they saying they're bad, but it's just more like detached. We don't talk to each other much, or we be just like the referee manager talk to the coach, and then we come back and forth with them. But now we're more like able to get chances to have a chat with players directly, chill after the game, and ask questions like, "What do you feel about the game?" etc. To understand more what they're thinking. So I think that's a good thing. I think that just need to build up by time, and they need to trust you to ask you or answer your questions. So I think it's just based on time to build that up, and I think it's getting better, way better. And then, of course, it will grow when you ask questions because you understand what they're thinking, you understand what they're expecting or why they're frustrating. I think that's a key thing to kind of let them voice out. And then now you think about, okay, did I really did that wrong? If you're not sure, go through the law. What did the law say? And then apply common sense. Would that be too technical? We're able to follow. Of course, like audience part, I'm not sure. As we know, we don't got much audience in Hong Kong to watch our Premiership or rugby in general, other than Hong Kong Sevens. But I think now the crowd understand more. That's what I feel like. Like even though when there's like high tackle, they expect something happen rather than play on, or there's like, oh, that's not a high tackle or something like that. They change a lot on that one. So I think at that point of view, I think they grow, no matter spectator, players, coaches, or referees. So that's good.
Yeah, so having that good communication after the game, off the field, where you can get really good feedback is going to help you with your communication even during the game, right? So that players have a better understanding of why you made that decision at that moment, and they can just move on from that, right? What's your advice for aspiring referees?
I would say just give it a try for sure. If you got a dream, follow it, give it a try. But I think the main thing will be keep growing. Don't feel like I'm at the limit. I personally don't think any human being got a limit. As long as you want to push, I think there's some way to reach that limit. And then just be prepared. You never know when the chance is going to come. You never know who is watching your game, no matter on field or online. So just be prepared. Maybe one chance someone pull out, then you jump in. That's your shot. Like you can't say I'm not ready. So just keep dreaming. Keep setting goals for yourself. Don't limit yourself by putting limitation on yourself. And just be prepared anytime when you're ready. So just keep growing.
Before we finish, what's your yo-yo test result?
I think my best
Be honest.
test is 18.2. Then I stopped. But we didn't do yo-yo test for a while now, so I don't really know. Because now we mostly do Bronco tests. So it's a little bit different. I prefer yo-yo test way more than Bronco test. Some of the ref like Bronco test. So it really depends.
And lastly, what's next for you, Craig? What do you have in store as a referee, as a player, if you still are in life? What's next for you?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm heading out to Monaco for the Olympic Rapid. So it's last tournament before Olympics next week. After that, come back for a short period of time, head to Portugal as a warm-up camp before Paris. Then the whole group will go from Portugal straight to Paris. To be honest, after Paris, I don't know what my plan is. I was thinking of finding my way. Like, of course, I still want to ref, but in the same time, I got some other goals I want to achieve. Of course, like I want to ref some more games, some higher level games, or even move into higher level in 15s, etc. I think as I back up what I said, I just prepare myself and see what comes next, because we can't selections for sure, and in the same time, you never know when the chances come. So just enjoy and focus Paris first, step by step, and then let's see what's the life take me.
Now, thank you for coming on the Grassroots Rugby podcast. It was lovely chatting with you and learning so much about your refereeing career, how far you've gone, and good luck with the repechage and the Paris Olympics.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.